Hello and welcome to this mid-morning taste challenge. We have two bourbon whiskey products and we are going to get to it right now. This is 10 High America's Native Spirit Sour Mash bourbon whiskey with natural flavors. Doesn't say Kentucky bourbon whiskey, it says bourbon whiskey with natural flavors. Ooh. So that means it could be from any state, and it probably is from any state, mostly Indiana and Kentucky, but it's probably different bourbons that they got on the cheap market, and they blended them together and they added natural flavors to make it palatable. And it is bottled at Buffalo Trace by, it says Barton Distilling, but it's really the Sazerac Company. It says we love to hear from our customers. 1-866-729-3722, Sazerac.com. Established 1879. No, that's when Hiram Walker was established, but that whiskey company was bought out by Barton Distilling years ago, and Barton was bought out by Sazerac in 2009. So yeah, 10 High has not been around since 1879. It's been around since 1934. Still close to 90 years. In this beautiful plastic bottle. Nothing says quality like the thud of plastic. $14.99. True story. All right, here is Virginia Black. It is a product of Indiana, probably Midwest Grain Products, but it is produced for the Virginia Black Company. There's a mirror on the front. I'm done with mirrors, but there's a mirror on the front. It looks like a 1986 cologne bottle, really. It's got a black bottom and a clear top. It's got this fancy pants chromium plastic twist cap. And this bottle is not $14.99. It's not $24.99. It's not $34.99. The lowest price I'm seeing right now is $38. $38. Wow, you say you don't usually pay $38 for bourbon. Boy, you went wild, huh? You went crazy, huh? Yeah, I found it for $10. Found it for $10, 750 milliliters for $10 at Savannah discount. Normal, sorry. Regular price, $38. Mathern's has it for $38, like $38.99. But Savannah discount had it for $10. Can't explain it. Didn't ask any questions. I just got it and got out. Look at Total Wine. I think they have it for 42 or something. You know, at the high side, people are selling it for $44.99. I don't know why you would pay that. I don't know why you would pay $38. I wouldn't have paid it. All right. I don't buy whiskeys I never heard of, first of all. And secondly, I mean, unless they're $10. And secondly, I wouldn't have paid that because I'm trying to gravitate up to that. I had to do Old Charter. I had to do Very Old Barton. I had to do Ancient Age. I had to do Jim Beam Black 8-year. And then the new Extra Age, which I haven't bought. So, I mean, I don't have time to be messing around with these obscure, overpriced, above premium bourbons. I'm not saying they're bad, though. I'm just saying I don't want to do it. But for $10, yes, I bought it, of course. Let's look at still can't get the level even. Well, the Virginia Black is much darker. Suspiciously dark. Yeah. Well, okay. It's produced for a private company. You know what I'm saying? The private company does not own a distillery or a rick house or a bottling plant. They own a name and they have some office in Los Angeles, but it is produced in Indiana for them. That's not a crime or some kind of, I'm not saying it as a indictment against the product. That's a common practice in the United States for beer, wine, and liquor to have a contract produced. Okay. If it tastes good, then I enjoy it. Okay. I don't care if it's sourced or independent bottling, as they say in Scotch whiskey, or private label, as they say over here. If it tastes good, that's what counts. Okay. This one, however, is unusually dark. It's a blend of 2, 3, and 4-year-old bourbons. So you got some 2-year-old, some 3-year-old, and 4-year-old. Well, you say, well, that means what? Well, it's a mixture of bourbons. No problem. You can do that. So it's allowed. The deal is you have to state the youngest age. And the youngest age is 2. So it says on the back of the bottle, this whiskey is 2 years old. Age 2 years, but it's not really 2 years. You heard what I just said. It's 2, 3, and 4-year blend. It's a 2, 3, and 4-year blend. But that's the law. It could be a 2, 22, and 42-year-old. You know what I'm saying? You could put a 50-year-old age whiskey in there, and if the youngest whiskey is 2 years old, you got to call it a 2-year-old whiskey. Some companies take issue with that. They're saying, hold on a minute. We're blending in 12, 15-year-old whiskeys. And okay, we got some young whiskey because we like the way it tastes, or maybe we're saving money, whatever the case is. And we got to call it a 2-year-old bourbon? Oh, no, they just won't put an age statement. They just say, well, we're not putting an age statement. But in that case, you couldn't sell it because it wouldn't be at least 4 years old. So if you don't want to put an age statement, fine, don't put an age statement. But the whiskey has to be, the youngest whiskey in the mix has to be at least 4 years old. So if you want to use younger whiskeys, go ahead, do it. But you got to put an age statement if it's less than 4. Companies like Jack Daniels, generally, they don't put an age statement. And on the tour, they said, well, because you got to pay. The guy said, really, the real reason. He said that it was probably for effect, dramatic effect. He said the real reason is because if you go over 4 years and you put an age statement, you got to pay taxes on it. There's an extra tax. This is him saying that. He says, and we don't want to pay the tax, so we just don't put an age statement. He said, but I'm not going to say how old it is. He said, but I will tell you that Jack Daniels is at least 4 years old. You know what I mean? So we knew what he meant, 4 years old. Okay. But not officially. The 10 high is no age statement, which means it's at least 4 years old. And there's no whiskey younger than that. Doesn't mean it's good. Just means that's the case that they gave me. Now, it also says bourbon with natural flavors. You say, wow, it must really be good. They got to add flavor into it. Right. Yeah, you know the answer. But look at Virginia Black. They don't claim it's flavored, but they use some very strange terminology on their website. It says 2, 3, and 4-year-old bourbons blended, a blend of 2, 3, and 4-year-old bourbons finished with a decadent finish. That's how they say it, with a decadent finish. I say with a decadent finish. And then on the bottle, it doesn't call it bourbon. It says whiskey. Now, you might say, yeah, but bourbon is a whiskey. Yes, I know that. It's a type of whiskey. I get that. I understand. But it doesn't say bourbon on here. It just says American whiskey. American, meaning it could be from any state. But we know where it's from. It says distilled in Indiana, so it's from Indiana. The bourbons have to be aged in charred oak, and it has to be new barrels, cannot be used barrels. So if it's a blend of 3 different types of bourbons, those are aged in new charred oak barrels. There's no debate. There's no way you can get around that. So you can't say, well, they're aging it in used barrels. No, they're not, like early times, which is fine, but it's not called bourbon. No, I'll tell you why I don't think they call it bourbon on the label. I think it's got flavoring added. So they call it whiskey, which is allowed. That's fine. You can do that. Just generic whiskey. Okay. Max Walt says, Privet Ron. Peace to you. Hector says, is tomorrow Joker's Wild Wednesday? Yes, it is. 6:30. I'm sorry, 7:20 Eastern time. Or maybe 7:30, depending if we're running late. 7:20, best scenario, 7:30 if we're running late. So I've got some stuff to bring. I don't know if it's exciting, but it's something, something to bring. I don't know how many people are going to join. Most likely Jean-Pierre, not my friend David. He gave up liquor for Lent, beer, wine, and liquor for Lent. It's probably a hard thing to do, is to sacrifice. Okay. All right. Taste time. Well, I'm sorry, aroma time. Well, we know the Virginia Black is dark, mahogany. The 10 High is sort of dark amber, but it's not that dark. Remember the price difference, $14.99 for a handle now. Handle. $38.99 for a fifth, a 750 milliliter bottle. I don't think so. Okay. It smells like corn, popcorn. It really does smell like popcorn, minus the salt. Little vanilla, little wood, little, oak wood. It's kind of simple. I like popcorn. I don't love it. I like it though, but I went to a game a week ago and my father got popcorn that had no salt on it. And they told us, we don't have any salt. And somebody else at the game said, couldn't they just have gone to the store and bought a thing of salt, container of salt? I said, that would be the easiest thing. How much would that cost? But they're not gifted over there. All right. Okay, this has that weird creme brulee aroma, and I know that's the 10 High, and not the 10 High. That's the Virginia Black, and I'm calling it. Got it. I don't need labels. Look how dark. But it is Virginia Black. See, it's got to have flavoring at it. It's got this strange, unusual, odd, and unexpected. I expect it because I've been, drinking it for a few years, tasting. But if you bought this, you would never think bourbon's going to smell like creme brulee, and bourbon does not smell like creme brulee. And I think they have a flavoring at it. Taste. Yeah, I mean, sugar water, vanilla, like candy corn, I guess. Could say kind of a candy corn thing. No bite, no rough edges, no harshness, no nastiness. So this is it's a hard product to review in the sense that when you criticize it, which I am criticizing it, but it sounds like I'm dogging it, like I'm saying, oh, this is trash, filth, garbage. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you want a proper bourbon, like you say, I want a bourbon that's credible, a bourbon that's pure and would represent the style. Oh, well, get Jack Daniels, get Jim Beam, go buy some Old Charter even. Or you could buy Elijah Craig. Well, that might cost you a lot, but I mean, still, that's a good example. Larceny. You could buy Ezra Brooks. I've never actually tried Ezra Brooks, but from what I hear people saying about it, it's got to be the case. I'm thinking of Evan Williams, another good example. So those would be proper, great prototypical bourbon products. Wings and Pizza says, not gifted, laughing out loud. Yeah, well, trying to be diplomatic, you know what I mean? No, I mean. So, I don't know. 10 High is hard to explain it. I mean, it's $14.99 for a handle. It's not like you're going to be putting yourself out. Michael Hill, good morning to you. Back to you. He said good morning. All right, to everyone. It's like, it's okay. I mean, it's like a candy version of bourbon. Yeah, it tastes like candies. Caramel, vanilla candies. Werther's Original. You say, well, I like Werther's Original. I wish I could get a Werther's Original that was 40% alcohol. Oh, there you go. It is called 10 High. But it's a game. All right. So if you're not too picky and you don't like to spend a lot of money and you want to get a lot of mileage out of a low amount of money, 10 High could be your thing. And just think of the prices, how they've gone up. I remember a few years ago, you could buy straight bourbon whiskey and a handle for $12.99. They had it on closeout at Albertsons, $12.99. Tom Moore. Now, is Tom Moore any good? I don't know if Tom Moore is any good. I know it's been on the market since the 1870s, though, continuously. Not the distillery had been around. I'm talking about the actual brand, the brand name, Tom Moore Bourbon. But whether it's any good, I don't know. This is the same thing. It's like a candy bourbon. I'm telling you, it's like bourbon candy, which may appeal to you because you say, I love Riesling. I'm trying to get this light. You say, I love caramel and vanilla candies and those chewy caramel chocolate oriented things. Okay, well, then you get that, and you get and if you've been to a nice country club and you got creme brulee, and you know what I'm saying, I don't know if you get that at Taco Bell, but like you go and you say, or think of like flan. If you go to a Mexican restaurant, they have flan, that dark syrup they put on it, that custard. It's kind of like this. So, and you say, I love sweet stuff. I love sugary stuff. I love candy like liquor. I want to drink it. I want to drink it. Okay, well, you have a choice. You can buy the 10 High for $14.99 and get a big jug bottle. I have a lot of it left. I gave 750 milliliters of this to my friend David. I just gave it to him. I said, you want it? He never says no to liquor. All right. And he ended up warmed up to it in a little bit, but he won't waste it. Might take him 20 years to drink it, but he won't waste it. I guess if you look at the price, I mean, okay, so what tastes better? Let's just get down to the final assessment. What tastes better? Remember, neither one is bitey or harsh or nasty in any way. In any way. In any way. In any way. All right. Well, I guess the Virginia Black has a more developed flavor in the sense that, like, you can really taste that sharp, charred oak, that Midwest Grain Products, Old Seagram's Distillery charred oak up there in Indiana. And you can get the sugar sweetness, that brown sugar, that even burnt sugar, like kind of richness there. And you might see this at a country clubhouse. But I don't think you're going to see 10 High there. You might see 10 High at a neighborhood bar room in the Well, or the Rail, as they call it, the Well drinks. Say, give me a whiskey and Coke, or a bourbon and Coke. No problem. You're not going to get Four Roses 10-year age special edition during happy hour. You're going to get maybe like 10 High. Or Beam's 8-star. Or Fleischmann's whiskey, or McCormick. Hey, but hey, it's whiskey. You say you want a whiskey and Coke. Oh, no, you want bourbon and Coke. So it couldn't be McCormick's because that's whiskey, not bourbon. Not bourbon whiskey. Okay, well, you get 10 High. Well, They're not cheating you because you said bourbon. You didn't specify. And like Shane Giggy was saying, that's on the customer. They could have asked. I said, right. You say I want a Beam and Coke. Don't get aggravated because they gave you Beam's 8-star in Coke. You said Beam. Beam's 8-star been on the market over 40 years. Apparently since 1976. And it's a cheap version of Beam. It's a blended bourbon. Blended whiskey. But it's made with bourbon. Probably Jim Beam. 2-year age. Cheap 2-year age. 80-20 blend. Used to be 75-25. But I mean, I tell that story all the time. I went to Middendorf's in Manchac, Louisiana, and they had all the Mississippi fans coming in for the Mississippi Rebels football team to go play at Sugar Bowl the next day. And they were coming into New Orleans to spend the weekend with a lot of drinking. These Mississippi people, they drink a lot. They wear shorts. Not short shorts. They wear short pants and those collared shirts, those golf shirts, and they all got big bellies. And they wear the leather shoes with the real low socks or no socks. I think you're more cool if you wear no socks. And they, but they were there, and the women. It was all women. You say you're sexist? No, I'm not. It was all women. They were saying we want. They said we want They're from Oxford, Mississippi. They said, we want, it's 11 a.m. in the morning now. They said, we want Bloody Marys. We want to get Bloody Marys. And I'm thinking, they're paying $8. $8 a glass. So the barmaid said, okay. And I'm eating my seafood platter. I'm watching, I'm just acting like I don't even notice, like I'm thinking Bloody Marys. All right. I said, I wonder what kind of vodka they using today. I said, I bet you it ain't, Tito's. So I look over there. I'm just eating like a grab of oyster. And I'm watching her. I had to smile. I said, Crown Russ. Oh, my word. Crown Russ. That's an old cheap brand. Been around since the Stone Age. It was a Seagram's brand, and they sold it to Sazerac in 1989. Crown Russ. You know you're living large when you're drinking Crown Russ. I'm watching, And none of these people here behind me, to the left of me, would ever drink that on purpose at their house or in a bar. You know what I'm saying? They would never allow themselves to go to a store and buy Crown Roast vodka. So I'm just watching, And they paid $8 a glass. And I think the tomato juice was like, I don't know, like Autocrat, like this food service in a big can, tomato, it's not V8, but that's cool. They had the ice cubes and then whatever they did, and they made the Bloody Mary. And I'm listening. I was thinking, are they going to say it's terrible? Are these women going to say, ugh, what kind of vodka is this? This is an atrocity. I protest. I'm waiting for it, but I knew they weren't going to say it. So I'm listening, and the ladies are like, and the barmaid say, well, here's your Bloody Marys at 11 a.m., 11:15 a.m. So they say, they've probably been on the road since 5 in the morning, left Oxford, right? So 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, they're probably driving fast, but in their Yukon. And they were saying, oh, that's the first lady says, oh, it's so good. And then the rest were nodding like, oh yeah. And I'm thinking, just goes to show you. Just goes to show you. They would never drink cheap vodka on purpose, but they drinking it and they don't even know it and they don't even care. Michael Hill says, good morning, everyone. So the winner is the winner is how you want to balance it. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, yeah, I guess Virginia Black does have a slightly more elaborate flavor, but it is $38.99. Maybe you could get it 38 even, but it's probably not likely. The 10 high is $14.99 for this big jug bottle, and it ain't really that much worse. In fact, you could argue that it's not any worse. So when that is discussed, you do have to give the nod to 10 high. So 10 high, is it a winner? Well, it depends on how you define winning. But in this contest, it is a winner with all those considerations considered. You know what I'm saying? Taken into account. So, oh boy. All right. David Burlack says, beer time, clinking the mugs, clinking the mugs, clinking the mugs. Well, actually, it was bourbon time, but yeah, okay, beer time. That'll be coming up in the afternoon hours. Cotton Eye Joe says, cheers, Ron, clinking the mugs. Cheers back to you. And Jimmy Joints says, your mom. That's his comment, your mom. And I think what he meant was, your mother did not raise mentally deficient children. He's talking about me. My mother did not raise mentally deficient children. I wish that could be said for everybody who made comments on this channel, but anyway, anyhow, getting back to planet Earth. But I recommend either one of these. I would not recommend paying $38 for Virginia Black. No, I'm sorry, I cannot say that. Would I recommend paying $14.99 for this? Yeah, if you have an adventurous spirit and you can look at things with a, a spirit of levity, so to speak. Yeah, go ahead, buy it. Why not? Heck. Like they say, you only live twice. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.